I say, old boy, would you mind terribly just watching the language in this review?
Why don't you watch your fucking language?
Well, what do you know, it's Hearts and Hooves Day, and boy howdy if it isn't my favorite day of the year. Oh, fuck me. As the episode begins, we see the Cutie Mark Crusaders working on a giant heart-shaped card for Miss Cheerilee. But even as they compete with the rest of their class to give their teacher the best Hearts and Hooves Day card of all, Sweetie Belle says with the most knowingly evil look on her face that I've ever seen, that it still won't compare to a gift from Cheerilee's grown-up companion. Oh yes indeed, they went there. But Cheerilee tells them that she's actually single, and I love her expression here. She's trying to be patient with them, but she really just wants to drop the subject and move on, while at the same time she already looks annoyed at the questions that are about to follow.
Le gasp! You? Single? On Hearts and Hooves Day? Why?
But rather than giving them a perfectly acceptable explanation, like telling them how lesbians work, or explaining that all of her dates mysteriously end as soon as she brings out the riding crop, she instead takes the more awkward approach by saying that she loves her job and that the rest of her day will be just fine. Adults, take note here. Kids are better at spotting your bullshit than you give them credit for, because this immediately gives the girls the idea to play matchmaker for their teacher. Also, kids, take note here. A 25-year-old will never take hookup advice from an 8-year-old. People have different ideas and interests when it comes to relationships, and it's already a dicey prospect asking someone our own age for advice because half the people who are in relationships are talking out of their ass anyway. You are not going to know any better. Though at least they're considerate enough that right off the bat they eliminate jailbait as an option, but again, they don't really know what their teacher likes, so they just start eliminating anyone with immediately visible flaws like a personality or interests. Oh no, that guy likes doing stuff! I'm serious, they even reject the resident Time Lord because he likes running through mud puddles. I mean, for fuck's sakes, what if Cheerilee likes doing that too? Did he even bother to ask her? So with their only guideline being nondescript nice guy, that pretty much leaves them with Big Macintosh. Now, to be fair, I actually like Cheerilee and Big Macintosh. I think they both have huge potential for character development, and we actually get a lot from both of them. Cheerilee shows off more personality than ever before, and Macintosh, well, he still doesn't talk much, but now that he's being featured more prominently, we do learn more about him through the other characters. For instance, we learn that he's shy, which might explain why he doesn't talk very much. We also learn that he and Cheerilee are already friends. So yeah, it looks like the whole romantic setup just isn't going to happen. But wait! Just as the Crusaders are about to give up, along comes Twilight to save the day! Hi, girls! Did you know that Hearts and Hooves Day was started with a date rape, love potion? This book here even tells you how to make it, where to find the ingredients, and how to cover up evidence. You three certainly don't look like you're up to anything, so why don't you take it? Actually, this segment is kind of interesting because while the unicorns are typically the magical species in Equestria, this seems like the first sign of magic practiced by the Pegasi, as the ingredients for the love potion are things that only the winged ponies are able to interact with. Also confirmed, Scootaloo can hover, but she cannot fly. They get Big Mac and Cheerilee together again, this time with the story of having them act as taste testers for a new kind of punch that they're planning to sell. And I have to say, Cheerilee really shines here. She knows that the girls have been trying to hook her up with Big Macintosh the entire time, and she even tells them about it. Their setups have been lame and obvious, she knows it, and she never becomes conveniently stupid for the sake of the story. She just doesn't know about the love potion, but again, that makes sense. She wasn't there for any of the scenes when they got the book, gathered the ingredients, or made the potion, and given how simple and poorly concealed their plans have been so far, she has no reason to assume that they've actually pulled off something this complicated. Assuming that it really is just punch, she drinks the potion for the sake of humoring the girls. And sadly, it's here that everything devolves into what is, in my personal opinion, the worst episode of the season. Now, I know there are a lot of people who like this episode, but hold on, I'll explain. See, the love potion ends up working too well, and it turns Cheerilee and Big Macintosh into the most obnoxious couple that you've ever had the displeasure of having to suffer through. And for half the episode, we get dialogue that's so nauseatingly sugary that it makes the G3 movies seem bearable by comparison.
You're my schmoopy doopy sweetie weedy pony pie.
God fucking damn it! Why? Oh, you think that was bad? Imagine that going on for 10 minutes straight. I'm not even kidding when I say that Princess Promenade was less painful to listen to than this. And look, I get it, okay? The whole point is that the other characters are annoyed by it too, and that's part of what motivates them to undo the spell at the end. That and the fact that the potion contains a curse that will make the affected couple only want to do this all the time and nothing else. And it turns out that even though they're only sometimes supporting characters, Big Mac and Shirley are actually pretty important to the community. But it turns out that the potion has kind of a timed effect, so the only way to cure the two is to separate them for 1 hour. How do they do that? By pretending to plan a wedding, of course. It's so insane that the only way to contain Shirley is with Rarity's drama couch. So yeah, the never-ending barrage of insipid baby talk is all part of the story, but the problem is when you write something to be intentionally awful and painful to listen to, you aren't just making the other characters suffer, you're making the audience suffer too. As much as it ties into the story, it still hurts to listen to. I mean, goddamn, my least favorite episode from season 1 was Showstoppers for the exact same reason. Guys, please, I don't want to hate this episode. There are a lot of good things here. The animation is great, the musical number's a lot of fun, there are some genuinely funny moments all throughout, and there's some good development for two really underappreciated characters, at least when they're not being affected by the love potion. In fact, this right here is probably my favorite shot of Big Macintosh ever. But for half the episode, the dialogue hurt so bad, and it was done that way on purpose. In the end, there are so many positive qualities here that I honestly can't say it's the worst episode ever, but by comparison, the bad stuff makes me want to punch children in the face, and for that reason alone, Hearts and Hooves Day gets a 3 out of 10.